So, paperwork. I think we can all agree that it's uh, not exactly the most thrilling part of any job.
Definitely not usually top of anyone's list of favorite things.
Right. But you know what? In the world of clinical trials, paperwork, it's not just important.
It's actually kind of a big deal.
Huge. It can literally make or break a trial.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're diving deep into today, right?
Yeah,
Specifically, financial standardization in clinical trials.
we are.
And we're going to be looking at a really interesting article that we found
Yeah.
by the Global Costing Task Force. And this article is all about bringing some order to the financial side of clinical trials.
Yeah, invoices, receipts, contracts, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Things that nobody really wants to talk about, but
That are so important.
they really are. So whether you're prepping for a big meeting,
Or you're just curious about how this whole thing works.
or maybe you just really love paperwork, this deep dive is for you.
Maybe, especially if you love paperwork.
So imagine a world where all those financial documents, no matter where your trial is happening.
They all speak the same language.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about today.
The idea is that no matter what site you're at, no matter what country,
We're looking at the same format for your invoices, your receipts,
their contracts, everything.
and the Global Costing Task Force. They use this great analogy.
Oh, yeah.
In the article, they say it's like
What is it like?
giving your documents a uniform.
Like everyone's in the same army.
Yeah. So they all march in line. I love that.
Yeah, that is a good one.
It kind of makes this whole thing a little less boring, right?
Definitely.
So, I mean, it makes sense intuitively, but let's break it down.
Let's...
What are the real tangible benefits of having this kind of standardization in place?
Well, think about it this way. If every site is using its own system,
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to compare apples and oranges.
You can't add them up.
You can't really tell what's going on.
Like, it's so hard to see the big picture.
Exactly. And that's where standardization comes in.
Makes everything so much easier, right?
Way easier. Suddenly, you can track expenses across all your sites without pulling your hair out.
It's all lined up.
Yeah. You can manage budgets more effectively.
Makes sense.
And you can spot any discrepancies or red flags super quick.
So audits become a breeze.
Audits are definitely a lot less painful with standardized documents.
I bet. I mean, I could only imagine how much of a headache it would be to try to audit
Oh, it can be a nightmare.
10 different sites all using their own systems.
Different currencies, different formats. It's just a mess.
So standardization just streamlines everything
It does.
and probably makes the compliance officers very happy.
Oh, absolutely. Compliance is a huge part of clinical trials.
And standardized documents, they just make it so much easier to, tick all the boxes.
They provide that clear audit trail that regulators love.
Keeps everyone out of trouble.
Exactly. And it minimizes the risk of errors or inconsistencies, which is crucial.
For sure. So we've talked about efficiency, we've talked about compliance, but what about data analysis? Does standardization have any impact there?
Definitely. Think about it. When all your financial data is cleanly formatted and easily comparable,
Yeah.
it opens up a whole world of possibilities for data analysis.
We're talking deeper insights, better decision-making.
Exactly. You can start to see trends that you might have missed before.
That's huge.
Yeah, and you can get a much more accurate picture of the true cost of your trial.
That's so important. And it brings me to another question. Is there anywhere else beyond finance
Yeah.
where we could apply this same kind of standardization thinking in clinical trials?
That's a great question. I think that principles behind financial standardization, they could definitely be applied to other areas.
Like what?
Well, patient-reported outcomes, for example.
Okay, interesting.
If you're collecting data from patients in a standardized format across all your sites...
It would make the analysis so much cleaner.
Exactly. And then communication protocols, having standardized ways for different sites to communicate with each other.
That would help avoid so many mix-ups.
It would streamline the whole process.
For sure. Makes you realize that paperwork, even though it can be a pain,
It can.
it really can be a powerful tool for making clinical trials better,
It can, yeah.
more efficient, more compliant, and ultimately more successful.
And who knows, maybe someday paperwork will be the unsung hero of the whole clinical trial process.
Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah.
That's a great thought to leave our listeners with.
Thanks.
All right, so we've learned a lot about the importance of standardization in clinical trials
We have.
and how it can impact everything from efficiency to compliance to data analysis.
It really is fascinating how something so seemingly simple can have such a big impact.
It really is. All right, that's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.